Brock McCormack is back with us this week to talk about one of the most mental sports there is, golf. If you didn't hear our last podcast, it was all about the unique challenges in baseball and softball. So this week we're diving into the unique challenges about golf and how to overcome those. Brock, you play a lot of golf. What are some of the biggest mental challenges that you see golfers run into?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest has to be letting go of a bad shot.
Oh, yeah, it has to be, right?
I mean, that's just automatic. Across the board, any age, any level, it's going to be letting go of a bad shot. It's just being a perfectionist is almost a requirement in golf, which presents a lot of beneficial aspects of being a perfectionist. Almost, I would say, required to be a great golfer. But the downsides of being a perfectionist in golf is that when you don't hit a good shot, things can fall apart really quickly. So we could probably spend an hour episode just talking about this concept, but I want to hear from you first on how that kind of ties in with what you've seen in golf.
Yeah, well, I think that not letting go definitely leads to a lot of fixing and overthinking because golfers, it's such a mechanical and technical sport, right? I mean, they're working on their swing mechanics for hours on end on the range. And so when they have a bad shot, the tendency is to drift back to that, like, okay, what's wrong? Let me try to fix and analyze. But then that leaves them stuck on the past shot, dwelling and trying to fix, and then that impacts the future shot because they're trying to do something else or change something, and they're worried about that happening again. So now they're avoiding a slice or whatever happened last time. So really, when you aren't letting go, it's leading you to dwell and overthink, and then it's impacting your approach on the next shot. So that's why we spend so much time on helping them move on in between shots because one, there's a lot of time to think. So you want to make sure you're setting yourself up for the next one. And two, you want to be able to trust your swing mechanics because like we talked about in our last episode, similar to baseball and softball, that's the time to analyze is for practice and on the range. When you show up to a tournament, it's okay, here are my skills, here's what I got today, and how can I get the job done with it? So if you're slicing consistently, then let's play the slice. Let's accept it. Let's not try to change anything up and make this major fix and worry about it. Let's just try to get the ball into the hole with the least amount of shots possible. So I agree, the letting go is a big one. And then I usually see a good pattern of golfers who are maybe not doing their routine going into a shot and they're starting to rush. And usually that's a result of them not letting go, right? They're like, okay, I have to get this next shot over with. But
Right.
I would say the fixing, overthinking, not letting go, all of those definitely tie into one big challenge for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty funny how in golf, obviously myself included, when we make a bad swing, we automatically want to assume that everything is wrong. Right?
Right.
It's just we catastrophize really quickly as golfers. Is one bad swing is okay, here we go again. It's this part of my swing, it's that happened, it's this. I just want to challenge all of that and say, what if nothing wrong happened there and it was just a bad swing? Like
Just not swing.
maybe the timing was zero point 0.1 seconds off. Well, guess what? The club face is 1/16th of an inch open and the ball is 15 yards to the right. Did you really do anything wrong? No. We're human. Our body isn't always going to be perfectly synced up. As much as we see that on the range all the time, it doesn't mean that's going to happen during a round. And that really ties into one of the biggest things that I see in talking with golfers that I want to point out is watching professional golf, whether that's on social media or on television, they're only going to show the good shots, right? We automatically assume that all of the pros now hit every shot perfectly because that's, well, all they're going to show us. They're probably not going to want to show the bad shots on TV. No one really cares about those. But now in our head, we assume, well, Scotty Scheffler never hits a bad shot, so I shouldn't hit a bad shot either. Well, not realistic. So I always actually tell some of my golfers, like, go on YouTube and look up like Scotty Scheffler mistakes, bad shots. Like he misses shots. He slams his clubs. Like he even swears on the course, but you never see it if you just scroll through Instagram. So you got to go out of your way to just recognize, wait, those guys also make the same mistakes that I do.
Oh yeah. And Rory 2 years ago, he won the Masters with 4 bogeys. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 bogeys and he won the Masters. I mean, that just shows the importance of being able to let go and reset because you can still win literally the Masters with a bunch of bogeys. And I also challenge my golfers, what's your reaction to a good shot? It's usually just like, "Oh, nice. Okay." And then you're moving on. Like, what if you had that same reaction to a bad shot? It was just, "Okay, bad shot," and then you're moving on. We tend to blow up when we have one bad shot and think all these negative things when, okay, let's just have a normal, simple reaction no matter what the shot is and guarantee it will help you move on so much better and so much more confident to the next one. Just because you let it go and don't have this dramatic reaction, it doesn't mean you don't care about it. We know you care about it, but if you're able to care more about moving on, that's going to help you so much more finish out the round strong.
Absolutely. And to tie back into kind of a baseball like mindset, in the last episode, we talked about how failure is built into baseball. And that's just kind of how we see the sport. We don't necessarily think that when it comes to golf. We just think, oh, like everything should go my way. Well, why can't we build failure into golf too? Like, why can't we do that? I pulled up a quote before the episode that I wanted to share from Walter Hagen, who's a golf legend from back in the day. He said, I expect to make at least 7 mistakes a round. So therefore, when I make a bad shot, I don't worry about it. It's just one of those 7. What a cool way to build failure into the round. Going into it with the expectation that there are going to be bad things that are going to happen this round, right? If I shoot par, I'm going to hit 72 shots. Are all 72 going to go the way I want them to?
No
Absolutely
way.
not. It's just not possible. So I just like relying on that Walter Hagen quote and sharing that with athletes to remind them that if you expect these moments to happen, when they do happen, now it isn't catastrophic. It's just a part of the round.
Right. Let's not expect every single shot to be perfect because like you said, that's impossible. There's no way that anyone on this earth has had a flawless perfect round. When we're talking about helping golfers move on and let go of bad shots, Brock, one, let me just have some built-in mistakes going into it. We said to not be fixing, to just still continue to trust and move on. Are there any other specific things that you're working on with your golfers for that time in between when they're walking to their next shot? Anything that you tell them?
Yeah, I think I really like to break it down into like a simple 3-step process. Now, certainly there's a lot of deeper skills that we can tie into this that, we could get into, but I want to just simplify it into like 3 simple steps, which the first one would just be we got to let go of the last shot. So I like to say you're allowed to get mad as an athlete. You're allowed to get mad as a golfer, but you don't want to stay mad. So give yourself a moment to be frustrated about it, because if you just try to like suppress that emotion and like not feel the frustration, it might just like explode back out. It could get worse the next time you hit a bad shot. So let yourself feel it. Let yourself get mad for a moment. But then I don't want to stay mad. So my first step is feel it. Allow myself to kind of live in that frustration for a moment, whether that's, 10 seconds, just kind of like let it go. Then my second step is get back to neutral. So I'm in that frustration. How do I get back to neutral? Give myself a moment to walk it off, take my deep breath, take a sip of water, think about something outside of golf. Think about a good shot that you hit before in the round. Think about something that is going to get you back to your neutral, back to your calm, relaxed, composed, confident state, whatever that might be. Maybe it's past success. Maybe it's all the training that you've put in. Maybe it's just thinking about your happy place, thinking about, looking around, right? Just being mindful, being grounded in the moment, like, looking at the clouds, the trees, the birds, like really just get yourself back to that neutral, as I like to say. And then our third step is, moving back to the task, which is what is it going to take in order to hit the next shot and execute? Well, it's not the last shot. It's not my mechanics, as we talked about. It's my process, right? It's my pre-shot routine. It's my picking my target. It's committing to my club selection, right? It's trusting my swing. It's going back to that routine, that trust, all of that going into the next shot. So that's kind of like the simple 3 steps that I like to take within that pre-shot window.
And I want to emphasize the third step because I think that's a great question that golfers can ask themselves is what's my job with this next shot? What do I want to do with it? Let's replace that with the what went wrong or why did this happen? Because at that point, it doesn't matter now. But if you're asking yourself what now instead, that gives you something to do in the moment. It sets you up for the next shot. So asking what now versus why on the course, I think is such a big shift that all golfers can make if they aren't doing that already. And then you're talking about routine. So let's get into that a little bit. I see a lot of golfers when they're getting frustrated or upset, or maybe even too excited, they start rushing their routine or skipping through parts of it because they just want to get it over with. They don't care. So, what do you see golfers do with their routines, Brock? And why is it just so important that they're keeping to it? I know you mentioned some very important aspects of the routine that they want to keep, like committing to their club selection, finding a target, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. It's way easier to rush through your routine than it is to slow down. A lot of that is due to the frustration. It's due to just the moment itself. Like when we're nervous or excited, our nervous system gets sped up and we kind of just want to go. And we don't want to slow down and take a deep breath. We want to just go hit the shot. So it just takes more of a deliberate effort in that moment to maybe take that extra deep breath, 2 deep breaths, and go through are essential steps of the pre-shot routine, which I like to another example of 3 items of the pre-shot routine. I
All
like to break
the
it
great
down.
things come in threes.
It's true. It's true. So I like to break the pre-shot routine down into the 3 T's, which would be target, tempo, trust, which every athlete can certainly incorporate those into their routine. That might look different for everybody, but the baseline of all good pre-shot routines in golf should include those 3 objectives. So my target, the reason why we want to pick a smart target, obviously is because we want to be aimed in the right spot. But if we circle back to what Georgia said before, is it takes us away from thinking about our mechanics, right? When we're thinking about our target, it's external, away from our body. If we're not thinking as much about our target, we're naturally going to want to bring our focus inwards and think about our mechanics. So target, external, that's where we want to be, away from our body, out into the target, whether that's on the green, like a line that you're seeing, or whether that's a landing spot on the green for an approach shot, whatever that looks like. Then we have our tempo, finding your smooth tempo, right? When we're rushed, we're excited, when we're nervous, what happens to our tempo? It speeds up, right? Our swing usually speeds up. So really just feeling that smooth tempo in our practice swing, relying on committing to almost slowing down a little bit more, knowing that the adrenaline will speed up our swing naturally. So if we slow down, it might actually be a normal swing. And then trust, right? Trust is just saying, all right, maybe last shot didn't go the way I wanted it to. That's fine because the last 1,000 shots that I've hit have been really good. The 950 out of 1,000 have been really good. So I don't need to think about the last one. I don't need to think about those couple bad ones that were sprinkled in there. I'm going to trust that I've put in the work. I'm going to trust my past success, my training, my preparation, and say, I know how to hit this shot.
Target, tempo, trust. It's just such a good refocus. Also, if you're nervous, you have those first tee jitters. If you're getting a little score focused, getting distracted by your playing partner, the weather, just acts as a great refocus right before the shot. Because, like we're saying, there's so much time in between to think. Your thoughts are going to wander. There's no way you're going to have a 100% focused round all the way through, right? Like, let yourself lose focus, but the target, tempo, trust brings you right back into what's most important, no matter what the heck is going on around you.
Absolutely.
And can we talk to Brock about playing partners and navigating those? Because that's a big challenge with a lot of golfers. Everybody has their preferred person, right? So a lot of my golfers, especially the more talkative ones, they like to have someone that's more friendly and they can talk to them, and just it's like a really positive distraction between shots that gets their mind off of something bad. But then for my more quiet, serious golfers, they hate when people are talking to them.
Mhm.
So, what are some things that you're talking to your golfers about in terms of navigating playing partners?
Yeah, absolutely. A good discussion point because it definitely depends on what you like out on the course. Like you said, some golfers are chatty, some want absolutely nothing to do with you. So, you could approach that from both ways. If you're the chatty golfer and you want someone to talk to, you can certainly lean into a good playing partner. But then the downside of that is what if my playing partner doesn't want to talk. Now I still need to find a way to focus and distract myself. So it just takes a little bit more responsibility to kind of take that upon yourself if you don't have a playing partner that kind of wants to chat. But if you're more of a quiet type and someone is chatty, then you could even just make a deliberate statement to them at the beginning of the round and just be like, "Hey, I'm not a big talker during the round. Like, I'm not going to be paying attention." You
Set
could
the
just
tone.
like just be straight up about it. It's not going to be disrespectful. Like, it's golf. You got to do what you got to do. It doesn't mean you don't like them. It just means, hey, I'm not going to be talking today. Like, I'm going to lock in, and I don't like to pay attention to what my playing partners are doing. Right. So it's okay to just make that statement up front.
Yeah, you can be the nicest person ever after the round, but before and during the round, don't be afraid to just do your thing, stay focused, and do what gets you mentally set and prepared for the round. And
Yeah.
if they get upset by it, then that's their problem that they need to work through. That's not your problem.
Exactly. And it ties back to the Masters last year in the final Sunday round when Rory and Bryson were paired together, kind of like an infamous story that came out of that when Bryson got interviewed after the round. They asked like, how was it playing with Rory? And he was like, I tried to talk to him like 3 times at the beginning of the round. And he said he didn't even look at me. And it was like, Rory innately isn't a bad person, but when it comes to Master Sunday, I'm not talking, right? I'm in my lane. I'm trying to execute here. So just recognizing that, you don't need to be a people pleaser, right? You don't have to be best friends with your playing partner. You got to do what's best for you. And in order to do what's best for you, it's got to be 3 things. It has to be you, it has to be the playing against the course, and it has to be playing against the game of golf itself. Those are already really hard, right? You don't need to add a fourth variable of worrying about what your playing partner is doing, because playing against the game of golf and playing against the specific course, that's already hard enough. So we
Right.
don't need to add any other variables.
What are any other unique challenges that we should dive into, or any other strategies that you want to leave our golfers with?
Yeah, let's talk about score watching. I think
Oh,
this is a
yes.
really big one,
Yes.
especially in competitive golf. Tournament golf is nowadays you have the ability to look at the live leaderboard on your phone during a round. So that can become a really big external distraction. Well, oh, I was playing really well, but on the eighth hole, I looked at the live leaderboard and saw that I was in the lead and then got really nervous. You ever had any experiences like that at all?
Oh, yeah. In general, it's really hard for them to ignore the leaderboard and ignore everyone's scores. Even if you tell them, "Just don't look at it," then sometimes their playing partner tells them, or they
Mhm.
just happen to see it as they're walking by. So, you always wanna make sure you're prepared for how you're going to deal with the score. Sure, like, plan A is to just try not to be aware of it. But plan B, let's say if you're going into maybe the back nine and you have a really great score, how do you want to handle that? And I tell my golfers, use that as confidence. That's just reassurance that your process is good. Let's stick with it. Let's
Mhm.
not get in this protective mode and, oh my gosh, now I have to keep this going. No, it's just reassurance for you. And then if your score is not so great, okay, how are you using that? Then it can that be like motivation? Can that be fuel? Can that be more focus going forward? Do you need to start chasing, competing a little bit more? But what I like to do is always prepare my golfers for every sort of scenario. That way, there's a plan in place for whatever happens, whatever the score is.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I mean, like, be prepared for knowing that I might be in the lead. Like, if I'm in the lead, how do I want to respond?
Mhm.
If I'm, 3 shots behind, how do I want to respond? So you can kind of map those out a little bit. Give yourself like a response plan, A, B, C, So now, no matter what happens, I'm ready for it. I can handle it. That's a great way to think about it. And really, one subgenre of that discussion that we should get into is if you're in the lead, one of the really common things that I tend to see is protecting the lead. Is now I'm just going to play it safe and try to just get to the clubhouse as quickly as possible. I'm going to shift to playing not to lose instead of playing to win the round. That is a major mental shift that we can do without even realizing it. So, one of the quotes that I like to lean into when we start to feel that way is the best way to keep a lead is to extend a lead, which is, oh, I'm up 4 strokes going into the back nine. I could easily just be like, I'm gonna just, play it safe, play, like play for par. Well, what got you to this point on the front nine? What got you to this point yesterday? It was, you know, playing aggressive in certain spots. It's playing your game. It's taking certain types of risks. So just sticking to what got you to that point instead of just completely changing your play style.
Right, exactly. I think that's the golden question right there is what kind of play got me to this point? And that's exactly what I need to stick with. The playing it safe mode did not get you to that great lead that you have. So let's not all of a sudden shift up your entire approach because one, that's not going to be fun. It's going to be nervous and stressful. And two, if you're playing aggressively, you're more focused on what it is that you want versus what you don't want. We don't want any sort of athlete in any sport playing in this weird avoidant mode because it's safe, it's scared, it's timid, there's a lot of hesitation within it. So keep your focus on what it is that you want and your actions will follow.
That's it. That's it right there.
And then one last, I guess another subgenre of that rock is golfers can be on their phones a lot, but some tournaments don't allow phone usage. So is there anything specific that you're telling your golfers in regards to using their phones on the course?
Yeah, it is very easy to naturally nowadays just start scrolling, you know?
With all the apps, right? And
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
So, like, my number one rule is you gotta be on do not disturb. I mean, that is just like a requirement for my golfers is you're on do not disturb. Like if you get a notification, your brain is going to instantly jump to your phone. So do not disturb and only let yourself go into the tournament app or onto the tournament website or whatever platform you're using to keep your score. That's it. Like we've just got to have the discipline that my text messages, my social media, whatever it is that I like naturally want to look at on my phone, like that's going to be there in 4 hours when the round's over. Okay. That's not going anywhere. So do you really want to let that slip into your headspace now? Or do you want to just focus on the task at hand? So this, takes a lot more discipline, but we know that once we get scrolling and looking at text messages that half our focus is on our phone, half our focus is on the course. What do you expect to happen, right? We're not going to be dialed in as much. So just really just keep all of our focus on the task at hand, which is the beautiful green grass right in front of us.
And I'll sometimes tell my golfers too if they like something, because for some of them, like the scrolling distracts them, right? I don't think it's the best distraction ever because it's treating like the squirrel brain where every 2 seconds you immediately scroll and lock in on something else. And that's not the kind of focus that we want to train in golf at all. We want this calm, steady focus, right? So sometimes I'll have them write out like a little reset card of reminders, quotes, slogans, even just their process of maybe a reminder of like slow down if I start rushing, whatever it is. That way they have something tangible to look at and hold
Mhm.
on to if they need it. If like their thoughts are racing, they aren't in their rational mind anymore. Well, okay, 12 hours ago my rational self wrote this. So, okay, this helps ground me. I'm going to look at this instead. Stick in my back pocket. So if tournaments don't have phones, sometimes I like to suggest that for them. That way they have something tangible to help them reset.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's like a letter to yourself,
Yes,
right?
learn my
My
future self.
yes, my calm self would want me to hear this.
Yes,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, I mean, that's really it right there. I like to say it's like taking a study guide to the exam. I
Yeah.
mean, literally, like, why not?
All right, Brock. Anything else that you want golfers or our audience to hear? And also, where can they find you if they want to work with you one on one?
For sure, for sure. My last tip would just be recognizing that golf is a game of failure as well. Is that, we don't play golf because it's easy. We play golf because it, presents that constant challenge. And I just want golfers to recognize that that challenge is what makes golf fun, right? Golf isn't fun because it's all success. It's not mini putt putt, right? Fall in love with the challenge. Fall in love with the fact that golf presents an opportunity for you to grow extremely from a mental perspective as well. So the fact that you're a golfer is going to make you a mentally stronger person as
In life.
well in life. Yes, exactly. So as difficult as golf can be, it is, creates a lot of awesome, resilient moments and teaches you how to manage failure really well. With that being said, I specialize in working with golfers. I just started up my own practice called Mac Mental Performance. You can find me at macmental.com, M-A-C-K mental.com. And then my Instagram is Mac Mental Performance. And just appreciate you having me on, Georgia. It's been awesome.
Of course. Thanks for coming on, Brock. And audience, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week.